Thank you, everybody. Clerk can take the roll.
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Commissioner Brastad.
Here.
Commissioner Reinert.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
Commissioner Jepson.
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Everyone is here this morning. We'll move to item number 4, which is to consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and purchase card claims paid for the periods ending December 29th, 2023 and January 12th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meiser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brasted. This is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Number 5 is approval of minutes for the following meetings. January 2nd, 2024, statutory and organizational county board meeting. We'll start with that one. Are there any changes? Commissioner Jepson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to make a very simple housekeeping strikeout on page, 11 of the appointments under the AMC policy committees, the Association of Minnesota Counties Policy Committees. There is a line that says Traffic Safety Advisory Council, of which I'm appointed to. I'm appointed to that state advisory council by AMC. It is not an AMC policy committee. So just for that clarification, I request that that just be excluded from the minutes for that meeting.
Okay. Commissioner Schulte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also have one correction, if possible, under the organizational minutes. If we could modify under present via WebEx, District 2, Julie Brasted, if we could modify that to reflect that the arrival time of 8:25, she was present via WebEx, and then a glitch occurred at 8:29, technical glitch at 8:29, and then she re-arrived at 8:46, just to show that she was here on time, ready to perform until the technical glitch happened. The current minutes just show her arriving at 8:46 as if she wasn't here on time, just to show that she was.
Good point. Thank you. Anything else? Commissioner Brasted.
Mr. Chair, I do have some comments, not about specifically the minutes, so perhaps I could have some time during the discussion.
Right here?
After their motion and seconded, I'd like
All right.
to have some time.
I'll move the correct. Thank you. I'll move the corrected minutes as proposed.
Minutes have been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you all noticed, I was experiencing technical difficulties when attempting to connect virtually during the organizational meeting. I want to take just a couple of moments to make comments that I would have made if I would have been able to join. I am extremely concerned with some behaviors of some commissioners on this board, and I feel that they need to be addressed. These behaviors are having negative impacts on our staff and others, and the truth matters. On June 6th, there was a county board workshop that all of us commissioners attended along with many of our staff members. First on the agenda for discussion was Juneteenth, and that becoming a mandatory holiday for government employees, followed by the possibility of the county board going to a rotating chair process. During the Juneteenth discussion, Commissioner Reinert did compare Juneteenth to National Hot Dog Day. The entire room was in shock at this racist comment, and it is...
Commissioner Brasted, I want to direct something to the county attorney real quickly. I believe our board meeting that we do at that time, which is what Commissioner Brasted is trying to put into the record, is a meeting that is done just for setting up and approving a vote. Clarify for me, is there an opportunity at that point in time for comments?
At the organizational meeting?
Yes, I just have heard from others that there may not be, but I just wanted to double check with the county attorney as to whether that's a part of it.
There's an opportunity for people at the organizational meeting to provide comments at the organizational meeting.
Okay.
There's nothing that prohibits a commissioner from raising an issue. I would say with respect to this motion, the discussion should be limited to the motion. I mean, any commissioner can, at some point in time in the future, ask for something to be made part of the public record by offering it and submitting it, and then it would be up to the board as to whether to receive it as a part of that record.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Brasted, I'll give you some more time, but I would hope that you would be short and brief.
Well, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. So to continue, the entire room was in shock, basically, at this racist comment. And it is my understanding that an employee even resigned after hearing this comment was made. In that room were representatives from our county attorney's office, from HR, and other departments. The representative from the county attorney's office who was attending remotely even spoke up and said the comment comparing Juneteenth to National Hot Dog Day was highly inappropriate. This board had discussions and discussed the idea of going to a rotating chair process for well over 6 months. The majority of commissioners clearly opposed making this change in the process, and that we would just stay status quo with our process. Commissioner Reiner was one of the commissioners to oppose making the change, so we did not change it. Fast forward to January 2nd during the organizational meeting when Commissioner Schulte was stating his reasons he could not support Commissioner Reiner in a leadership role. An article was written on January 4th in our local paper, highlighting the discussions that took place at this meeting. Commissioner Reiner was quoted as stating that he never compared Juneteenth to National Hot Dog Day, and that the board was using a rotating chair process. Both of these statements made by Commissioner Reiner are completely untrue. Another issue of great concern for me is the way in which Commissioner Reiner has harassed employees. Commissioner Schulte was spot on during that meeting when he called this out at the organizational meeting. We cannot stand by as an employer and allow an environment where employees feel bullied, harassed, or are in fear. I, for one, have worked too hard to make Anoka County a better place to work for our employees. I believe that the truth matters, and as elected officials, we should be held to a standard where employees and constituents can expect the truth from us every day, every time. I strongly feel this is a situation where this board should censure Commissioner Reiner for knowingly spreading false truth.
The comments that were made, we're looking at, I think, some things from a different light, unfortunately. And we thought, I thought that we had gotten past that first meeting and hopefully moved on into a better time where we could talk about the issues facing us. I am going to give Commissioner Reinert, because his name was mentioned, some time to respond. That's only fair at this point in time. And I guess Commissioner Meisner would like to say a few words as well. But this is a disappointing way to start our second meeting. I understand Commissioner Brasted was unable to be involved because she was out of town and the link did not work. So I'm sure she was ready to say these words at the last meeting as well. Some of the comparisons I would disagree that with exactly what she's saying. I have no knowledge of anyone telling me that anybody ever resigned from the county. So that's something new that I've not heard. But I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm saying that I never heard it that way. So I will give Commissioner Reinert some time to respond because his name was mentioned. Commissioner Reinert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so it continues. So we had a meeting 3 weeks before the organizational meeting to discuss, who might be chair into 2024. And it was discovered then that Commissioner Gamache had more votes than Commissioner Schulte. And that's when the tantrums, the threats, the intimidation, and yes, blackmail attempts began. With me, you better vote for Schulte or else. We're going to tell everyone you're a Democrat. You better vote for Schulte or else or else. Threats, intimidation. 3 weeks I went through hell. Because supposedly someone who acts like that should be our board chair and leader of Anoka County's board. Absolutely not. As far as the lies that are being told about this hot dog day comment, I know my history. And in history, in 1865, in January of that year, the Congress and the Senate and the President voted to abolish slavery. And that was 11 years after the Republican Party was formed, and one of the platforms of that Republican Party was to abolish slavery. And that I hold dear, that in 1854, they formed a party. 2 years later, they ran a president. He lost. 4 years later, they ran another president. He happened to win. His name was Abraham Lincoln. And he paid dearly for his stance on that topic. So I know my history. In December of that same year, 1865, we had enough states ratify to make an amendment to the Constitution. My comments were in line with that truth. And Juneteenth, the country wants to make Juneteenth the celebration date. My comments were is that Juneteenth is a Texas holiday. In Texas, on June 19th, they had to send a cavalry in to Galveston Island to free some slaves. And there is where they had a holiday for Juneteenth for many, many years. My comments that day were questioning why, and just, verbalizing those two important dates in January and December and why we were celebrating a Texas holiday in Minnesota. My comments were that just a few years ago, nobody in Minnesota even knew what Juneteenth was. And it was as known as maybe National Hot Dog Day, and I did say that. But it was in context with the knowledge base that Minnesotans have and had at the time. In no way, shape, or form was it racist. The topic of rotating chair. We did have several meetings on this topic, and every single board member wanted some form of that and vocalized support for that. Why we don't have it and why that's now being manipulated as if none of us agreed. None of us agreed in how to do that. We all supported the idea at one time or another. But there were probably 3 or 4 different ways to do it being discussed in the room, and that day we did not come to agreement. So it's a misstatement, and I'll just say a lie, to say that no commissioners agreed. We didn't agree with how to. Harassing employees. Well, let me just talk about that. I question employees. I challenge employees. And if that's harassment, then what, should I stop questioning employees? I want to know information, and I've always done this. I dive deep into the topics here. I want to be a good commissioner. I want to represent my residents in my district. And I ask a lot of questions, and I talk to everybody. Some people on this board, the person that was just talking, doesn't like when you ask questions. Go along, get along, bureaucrat. I'm not that. I dig down deep, I get answers to my questions, and I vote the way that I think that I should. This is just a continuation of the last meeting where Scott Schulte did not become board chair. He threw a tantrum. He called people names. I guess the tantrum is continuing. Embarrassing the people that are throwing those tantrums and embarrassing this county, and it's repulsive and disgusting.
Commissioner Meiser, you got your hand up?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been consistent, and I'm going to, as long as these comments are happening. This is now the third board meeting in a row where commentary is fine. These kinds of opinions and discussions is divisive. 2 times from Commissioner Schulte, 1 from Commissioner Brasted. I ask all of us of this board, of which I'm a member, again, can we leave these discussions to ourselves, not in public? Let's get the work that needs to be done for our staff, for our residents. This should not be happening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion that has been seconded. All in favor of the statutory organizational county board meeting minutes of January 2nd, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. Item number, letter B, is the January 2nd, 2024 regular county board meeting. Any changes to that? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Jepson, seconded by Commissioner Meisner. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. Chair's remarks. I had nothing planned for today, but I would like to say I hope we can move forward, get the job and the work of the county done, and continue what they're expecting us to do. Committee reports. Management Committee, Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Management Committee, we did meet on January 2nd. It was held at 9 a.m. in the conference room 772 here in the building. As chair of this committee, I do accept public commentary via email. Anyone may email me for public commentary for this committee at mandy.meisner@anokacounty.mn.gov. It's very difficult for a lot of people to come to these committee meetings during the day. I did not receive any public commentary via email, nor was there any in the room. Now, this meeting was informational items only. However, I do always like to share with the public what was being discussed. So there were just 2 items. One was essentially setting our schedule for the management committee throughout the year. Anyone can go on that website and look at those dates. The second item was a discussion of the employment agreement with Sarah Hopkins for appointing Sarah as the library assistant director. So that concludes my report for January 2nd. I believe that we should be moving on to the additional agenda item. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So the additional agenda item that I bring forward today, we just met this morning, also held at 9:30 in room 772, and I am so pleased to present this to the board. This is for resolution 2024-M1. This is approving the revisions to the 2022 to 2024 collective bargaining agreement between the county as well as AFSCME, which is the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees representing essential facilities in the probation unit. So first of all, I want to thank all those involved that were part of these negotiations. These are tricky. This actually happened not according to the regular schedule. As you guys all know, we did a Helios and wage adjustment for all employees, looking at competitive rates and what is equitable. The union units were the last ones to be addressed. So we are working through these. This particular resolution and contract represents about 80 employees. The resolution and the details are before you, but this was passed unanimously at the Management Committee meeting. One last bit of commentary. We have one last bargaining unit that I am hoping will be coming forward to this board as well. And I will go ahead and move that resolution or offer that resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner Meiser. The resolution has been offered. Any discussion? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte, Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. And is that the end of your report?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Chair.
Commissioner Look.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I wanted to discuss a topic here that I'm not sure if it was discussed in the Management Committee as it related to the compensation difference for D. Goodman. And I guess that's the first question I have is, was this covered by the Management Committee at all?
Commissioner Meisner?
No, not since I have been chair. We've only had those 2 management committee meetings.
Okay.
Commissioner Look, I think the committee met on
Well,
January 2nd.
January 2nd,
So,
and then this morning.
that there had been no discussions at that point in time, so nothing was brought to the Management Committee.
Okay, so, Mr. Chair, as I understand, there was some discussion on this salary adjustment in the interim here for our interim administrator. And first of all, I'm concerned that it's not coming before the board here for ratification of what that decision is, but more importantly, it's the process in which this decision was made. I received, Mr. Chair, an email from you on January 12th, 2024, in which you spoke, you were asking whether I would support, a increase in salary during this interim time period. You and I discussed back and forth a little bit as to what the prior administrator was making, what DDA is recommending in terms of the current, as we're going out for an administrator, what the current salary would be. And I was certainly undecided on that. Mr. Chair, then I received an email to me saying, thank you for the feedback. I have received 5 approvals from commissioners, not including me, yourself, the chair. So we will move forward with a dollar amount through May. Is that correct?
I believe I don't believe I asked for your support in the meeting, but I probably did say that I had heard from the county commissioners that they were okay with what we had discussed. I had basically already made the decision to go forward. What I was trying to do was to inform all of the commissioners of where we were going. And if I said it in a way that makes you think I was asking for a vote, I wasn't. I was specifically just trying to give information. I had found that over the last number of years that there's many times where some of this information has not gotten back to the entire board. And we oftentimes are surprised when we hear things at a committee meeting or at something that these decisions have already been made, especially in the role of salary structure for administrator's role in the past.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm hoping that maybe the attorney can weigh in on whether this has been an open meeting law violation.
County Attorney.
Mr. Chair, members of the county board, every time there is a indication that the open meeting law has been violated, that involves a very fact-intensive kind of analysis. Just because some people have an intuition of how other commissioners might vote on a particular issue, or information has been shared with one commissioner or perhaps not another commissioner, doesn't necessarily mean there's been a violation of the open meeting law. Of course, our office takes allegations of open meeting law violations seriously, but in that fact-intensive process of trying to figure out whether there was a violation of an open meeting law, we have to look at whether there was a meeting that happened between a quorum of a committee or a quorum of the board, whether that meeting was intentional, what kind of information was shared and who shared it. It is quite common for public bodies and the staff of public bodies to share information with a whole board, and for members of the board to acknowledge receipt of that information. It is uncommon for members of a board or a council to meet, and this is what would be prohibited by the open meeting law, to meet privately or to have serial meetings where they are gathering information or sharing information or expressing a vote on how they will vote without that being part of the public record. So what I would say on this is if our office can be helpful to the board and any particular commissioners on conducting more training, as you all know, we did a training on the open meeting law this past year where we talked about much of this and shared materials for the board to consider. We'd be happy to do that. We can't turn a blind eye to that, though, when issues come to us where there might be a matter of concern. And so our office will undertake to see if there's been a violation of an open meeting law and whether additional training might be necessary. I would say that the law that is there provides any person the ability to seek remedies in court. It's not incumbent upon, it's not a mandatory obligation of the county attorney's office, but our office is in a position to advise and instruct and direct the board on what the law is and how the law should be observed. It's not incumbent upon us, however, though, to bring an action. It's something we could do. We have that within the scope of our authority, but it's also something that the public or any member of the public could do to bring an action. And there are consequences for violations of open meeting laws that include fines, and if there are, and I think I shared this with the board at the training that we did this last year, if there are 3 violations of an open meeting law, it can lead to disqualification for office. So there are real consequences that go with it.
Thank you, County Attorney Johnson. And any other discussion, Commissioner Look?
Mr. Chair, again, I want to reiterate that our first conversation was between you and me, and no one else was included in that conversation, but then learning that 5 people had agreed to the process moving forward somewhat made it clear to me that at least 5 of 7, and perhaps all 7 commissioners were solicited behind the scenes, you might say, to support this increase in salary. And again, it has nothing to do with an increase of salary, it has nothing to do with D. I spoke with her earlier today to let her know this is not about that. This is about the integrity of this organization. This is about the fact that there's been assumptions that the open meeting law has been violated. And people have been talking carelessly. And as elected officials, a body up here making decisions, we don't get to carelessly violate laws. And if that's happened, there needs to be some answering for that. And what I might recommend is that we send this off to the Minnesota Department of Administration Data Practices Office to do an analysis of this. We're already undergoing one investigation that is costing this county substantial dollars. And unfortunately, this is something that commissioners have to take a little more seriously than perhaps has happened in the past.
Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, for the record, I'm going to add Commissioner Look to the list of Commissioner Schulte and Commissioner Brasted in terms of bringing up commentary to be divisive. Second of all, though, I do want to state that in a work session when Administrator Sivaraja retired kind of abruptly and we were deciding, okay, what are we going to do? The discussion and the topic of D filling in, would there be any kind of compensation for this extra work? It was discussed. It was agreed upon. Nobody knew what the exact dollar amount was or even what it would look like exactly at that time in the work session because, again, back then, this was all new information that we were receiving and we were trying to make decisions and lead the best that we could as a board. So I do want to state that this actually was discussed as a full board. So now I'm not going to speak to whatever that conversation was in the email, but that was the general support that our board chair had previously gotten from this board. So I do want to make note of that since you're bringing up a lot of details. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, in response to that,
Commissioner Look.
I find it just absolutely amusing that you might refer to me as being decisive when I'm trying to identify the
Divisive.
divisive. when I'm trying to identify the fact that laws potentially have been broken. Maybe you don't take that seriously. I do. I do take that seriously, and you should too. But the reality is whether we discussed it 100 times, we did not discuss the dollar amount. We did not approve the dollar amount. And if that was done behind the proverbial closed doors that we get accused of, okay, that's wrong. Broke the law. And someone needs to be held accountable for it.
Mr. Chair, just to follow.
Meisner?
You know what, Commissioner Look, I really do appreciate any of your commentary or any of my colleagues. Again, I don't appreciate the tone you're taking with me right now, though. Thank you.
And just
I don't care.
just to move forward on this one, again, it was given to me that it was my decision that, as Commissioner Meisner had indicated, that we had talked about it at the workshop. And it was just a decision that had to be made as to what the dollar amount would be in conversation with Dee. And what I was looking to do was to get information to some of the commissioners just to let them know this is where we're going to go. Wasn't looking for an agreement. I was just asking some of them if they had any thoughts. And moving forward, that's what we got. Fortunately, I may have put it in an email to Commissioner Look in a different manner than I maybe should have. I apologize for that. But I had already made the decision that we were going to increase the salary in compensation for the work that Dee was doing, which we had a discussion about, that she would get an increase. And that was made in that that was made in a workshop meeting as we discussed this moving forward. I believe all of us were there. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I believe all of us were there at the time, so we all came to an agreement that she should make an additional salary during this time period. I did have some questions that I had to clarify as to after the new administrator is hired, how do we work with staff and it would be human resources as to how Dee's salary gets restructured, just to make sure I could cover that and understand that. So there were a lot of questions that were out there going on regarding that. But it was my decision to make, and what I wanted to do was to update the commissioners to let them know so that there wouldn't be a surprise down the road. And from my understanding, it doesn't require us to have a meeting or have a discussion, not a discussion, have an actual vote on this. I specifically asked that, is there a need for a vote? And the answer was no. And that's why there hasn't been and nothing has been placed on any agendas. Commissioner Reiner.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Commissioner Gamache, at your attempts at transparency, which have been lacking in this county for a long time. It is obvious to me that this is just more political silliness and a continuation of the tantrum that started about 5 weeks ago. And I think we should move on and get to the business of the people and continue our meeting rather than all this silliness that is going on today.
Thank you, Commissioner Reiner. Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Silliness, you may call it, but I think Commissioner Look's feeling that an open meeting law violation may have occurred may be
Political?
no, spot on. I too received an email from Chair Gamache on January 11th, went through a salary range, and then he specifically asked me, are you good with that? So that kind of question is asking how I feel on that, yes or no, and that is what open meeting law violations are. When you're doing things not in the public, which we're meant to conduct our business, so it is transparent. So I too share in Commissioner Look's concerns over this, and just wondering if everyone else received the same email. Commissioner Schulte, did you receive an email?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Brasted, yes, I did.
And again, I'm putting this out there is to say I had already made the decision. What I was looking to do was to be transparent with all of the commissioners to let them know where we're going and what we're doing. Based on what we had talked about in a workshop that we were giving Dee an increase for the work that she was going to be doing and has been doing since December 27th, I believe. Something that she needed to be compensated for. I wasn't, if I phrased it incorrectly as to say, are you good with this? I wasn't asking for if I would have come back and I had 6 commissioners tell me, no, they're not good for this, although I don't believe I actually texted or emailed all 6 commissioners. I know I did not do that. Some of the conversations are just going on while you are working on something and asking, you know, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing. You know, this is what we have to do. The fact that I knew that we did not have to go to have a vote on this told me that it was the board chair's prerogative, I guess in this case, and something I guess I would look to the future to maybe discuss that as to whether or not that should be the board chair's prerogative, because I think it's really an entire board that needs to make these decisions. But that's what I was told in the past has happened, and we needed to move quickly to start getting this set up for Dee with her first paycheck in the month of January in 2024.
Mr. Chair, can we get the attorney's opinion on dissemination of information, please?
County Attorney Johnson.
Mr. Chair, members of the county board, I'm not going to give legal advice in an open board meeting like this without sitting down and having our office confer with staff, get information, gather information, and then come back and provide that advice after we know all of what happened. I'm not going to do it by anecdote here in a county board meeting. I would remind members of the board that as members of a public body, each commissioner has fiduciary duties to Anoka County. Those duties include duties of candor, duties of disclosure, and also duties of confidentiality, because not everybody on a board knows all of the facts or circumstances as it relates to how other people on the board or in the government are working. There are proper channels for how to deal with these things, and that includes working with staff, asking staff to then work with the county attorney's office so that we can be in a better position to know all of the facts and to provide you with the best possible legal advice. That might include us seeking input from other public bodies like the Department of Administration, or it might include us opening up some kind of an investigation. But even an investigation that would be into a matter such as this would be kept confidential, because we don't know where it's going to go, and we don't want to unnecessarily alarm members of the public, because we get complaints from various people, whether it be constituents who are legitimately concerned about how their government's working, or others, sometimes whether they identify themselves or not, that we have an obligation to inquire into. We follow appropriate steps in dealing with that. And I always tell my staff, and I tell the staff here in the county, our job is to follow the law. And if there are missteps made along the way, then we try to redress those. But we're not going to get into a back and forth on providing advice on something where we don't have all the facts in an open county board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, County Attorney. If there's nothing else on this at this time, we will move on to our Transportation Committee report from Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Joe. How are you? All right, the Transportation Committee met on January 10 at the Anoka County Transportation Division facility. The first meeting of the year. All committee members were present, so we'll just go into the action items discussed. So action item number 1, the committee recommends approval of resolution 2024 TR01, a resolution establishing the 2024 spring road restrictions on the Anoka County highway system. Joe.
Wonderful. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Joe McPherson. I'm the Chief Officer of the Transportation Division and County Engineer. Just as we do each year as we're prepping for spring, feels like we really never had a winter, and we're transitioning right into spring from fall. But in this case, this is the preparation of our spring load restriction map. As you'll notice, there's 3 bridges on there that are restricted. The top one in the upper left-hand corner in St. Francis is the bridge that was injured. It was damaged during a vehicle collision a couple of years ago. That is gonna be replaced in the next couple of years. The orange one that you see in the middle of the screen in Oak Grove there, that is a bridge that's currently under reconstruction on Viking Boulevard. So that'll be another one that's addressed. The one in the very south portion of Anoka County is on Old Central Avenue. That is one we have programmed to be removed. So I mentioned that just so that the board and members of the public understand that we are addressing these bridges. They're very important corridors, each one of these for not only freight, but also a lot of our commercial industry and that type of thing. I also want to mention that each year as we do reconstruction projects or pavement preservation projects, we come back to this map and we update it. And in the last 3 to 4 years, I'm happy to say that a number of the roads that were previously restricted to 7 tons in the spring have been increased to 9 tons. And again, that's something that a lot of us probably don't appreciate, but if you're driving a truck or hauling any heavy loads, if you're a construction operator, that's a big deal. So with that, I'll stand for any questions on this item.
Any questions?
Thank you, Joe. Yes, so can I get a,
I'll offer the resolution,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
The resolution has been offered. Any other discussion?
I'm sorry.
Commissioner
I'm
Meisner.
sorry, Mr. Chair. I do just have one quick question. So since basically you're saying the system is expanded for the higher tonnage, so does that mean like overall it's better? Because I know like that's one of the biggest things with all of our local roads is that it's a freight, right?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner.
But does that make sense? Does my question make sense? Like because you're spreading out the strain on the roads, does that mean like it's, I think, overall better for the system?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Commissioner, I think I understand what you're asking, and the high-level answer is yes. So as we improve the condition of each one of these roads,
Yeah.
it spreads out some of the abuse that they receive from truck
Right.
routes and truck traffic. If you only have a few routes that carry all those heavy loads, they experience more damage. In this case, if we can increase all our roadways up to that 9-ton or 10-ton standard, it helps all around.
Yeah, excellent. And I bet you a lot of truckers are pretty happy as well.
Yeah, yep.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. Action item number 2.
So the committee recommends approval of Resolution 2024-TR02, a resolution authorizing the county engineer to acquire the property identified in the city of Lino Lakes at the corner of Main Street and Lake Drive.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, Mr. Chair. So this item, just a little history on this one, located in the city of Lino Lakes. It's in the southeast corner of Lake Drive and Main Street, 2 major corridors in that area. It is a property that's been vacant for a number of years, and we've seen a number of proposals that have come forward to try and construct something there, whether it's a coffee shop, some type of retail center, or what have you. Unfortunately, due to its limited frontage on either one of those roads, it's tough to provide a full access to that property from either corridor. So as these proposals have come forward, unfortunately, they've always backed out because they found a better suited lot. Knowing that in the future, we're gonna have some improvements at this intersection that are needed, acquiring this property, knowing that it's open for sale right now, is a good opportunity for us to work with that property owner, come up with a fair market price and acquire the property. And we've done that. We did a third-party appraisal, and that's the number that we both settled at.
Any discussion? Do I have an offer of the resolution?
Yes, I'd like to move to adopt resolution number 2024-TR02.
The resolution has been offered by Commissioner Reiner. Any discussion? Commissioner Reiner.
Just a couple of tidbits here. So this is in Lino Lakes where I live, and back in the 50s and 60s, this was actually the intersection that was going to be downtown. It didn't end up there. It ended up about a mile south of there is where, a lot of the commercial and gathering is. But on this corner was Ross's Corner, it was called. And back in the 60s and 70s, they had the best fried chicken, liquor store, kind of a communal place to gather. It's a little tough for me to see it go and then become a roundabout, but I understand progress too. But just want to give a little perspective to that piece of property. It meant a lot to a lot of people back when it was happening. Now it's just a piece of ground, and we're moving forward, so.
Thank you, Commissioner. If there's nothing else, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reiner.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Action item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee recommends approval to enter into agreement C000988, a joint powers agreement with the city of Coon Rapids for project CP 20-23-132 intersection improvements at 85th Avenue Northwest and Evergreen Boulevard Northwest in the cities of Coon Rapids and Fridley.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, members of the board. So this is a project that's been on our list for quite some time. The city of Coon Rapids and the development along Evergreen Boulevard there has changed over the course of the last 10 years. They've seen a lot more trucking facilities in there, freight facilities, which is good to see. It's good to see that area repurpose itself and a lot of strong businesses in there. As such, that intersection at Evergreen and 85th has become more detrimental to their services. And also, once a year, Springbrook Nature Center actually hosts a Halloween event, and they draw a pretty large crowd, a few thousand people, a lot of them children, and of course, Halloween, that happens in the evening hours, so it's dark at that time. What we've done over the course of the last couple of years is actually just close that road down for the event to keep it safe. But with that, that Springbrook Nature Center does draw a lot of pedestrian traffic and bicyclists. So with all of these things in play, we reviewed a couple different intersection improvement alternatives. One was a signal due to the constrained right-of-way. Another one was a roundabout. We also always consider an all-way stop. This corridor doesn't warrant an all-way stop. It did meet warrants for a signal and roundabout, but ultimately looking at the level of service, which a level of service A is the highest you can get, ultimately the roundabout was the best situation here. And so that's what we're proposing to construct. Additionally, on this project, it's right on the city line. So you've got Fridley to the south, Coon Rapids to the north. So this agreement before you in this action item is our joint powers agreement for maintenance and construction costs, sharing with Coon Rapids. The following item is almost exactly the same, except it's with Fridley. So we support this.
Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, Joe, I assume this will be a little bit larger than normal roundabout because it's such a heavy truck corridor?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, that's correct. This one will be a full-size roundabout. It'll have adequate lane width so that trucks can get through there adequately. And there's still the trailer, the TAG axles on that trailer will still hop up on what we call that truck apron.
Sure.
That's an elevated portion, but it is large enough for them to get around.
Mr. Chair, with that, I'd move approval.
We have a motion. I'll second it, and it has been seconded. Any other discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, it's, I believe it's Pumpkin Nights in the park, and it is thousands and thousands of people go to that every year. So I'm really pleased to see this for all the reasons that you stated. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reiner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye. And it passes unanimously. Item number 4 then, we'll move on to that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Joe mentioned, this is just the same similar agreement, JPA, but with the city of Fridley for the same project, CP 2023-132, agreement number C0009889.
I'll let Mandy should do it. Commissioner Meisner, this is the Fridley part.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'll move that.
I'll second. Joel, you just already explained it all, so I don't think there's nothing changes on the Fridley side.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the only thing I'll add here is on the Fridley side, one thing that our project team did take into consideration is any impacts to a park like that come with a lot of strings attached. You guys have heard those before many, many times, but on this one, they really minimize the impacts. In fact, coming into Springbrook Nature Center, it's not a full-blown road like you might see into some complexes.
Right.
This is going to be a driveway. So it will look like a driveway, feel like a driveway. That'll prevent people that are trying to go through the area from thinking that's a street and then they get caught up in the parking lot and have to turn around.
Good. Any discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. No, I'm sorry. I got confused. I thought the last one was this one. And so, anyway, I got it. It's a joint powers agreement, which means Coon Rapids and Fridley. Yeah, I'm okay now. Yes, thank you.
All right. See no other discussion. This is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. I'll move on to item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee recommends approval to enter into Agreement C00010572, a professional services agreement with SRF Consulting for Project 002-606-014 for the design, environmental documentation, and intersection improvements at Mississippi Street and 7th Street Northeast in the city of Fridley.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, you guys are doing well. There's a lot of numbers in here, typical engineering type agenda here. But this project, actually, the county and city teamed up together. We submitted a highway safety improvement program funding application for this. And again, we were successful. So 90% of the project costs on this one are borne by those federal funds, which is a benefit to that local community. Another thing to add here is Mississippi Street all the way from East River Road on the west end, all the way to the extent where it meets up with Ramsey County on the east side. We did a corridor study back in 2018 and 2019, had the public involved, the community was involved, and we came up with some corridor modernization alternatives. So this project is working off that plan and that study. And this will be another roundabout. It fits the area. It's gonna slow traffic down, which was a major concern for this area. And there's a school just to the east here. So with that, SRF is designing one of the other roundabouts on this corridor that we also received HSIP funds for. So they're gonna help us on this one, and we're gonna try and coordinate these two projects so they happen at roughly the same time, minimize impacts.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Moved by Commissioner Meiser, seconded by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee recommends approval to enter agreement C00100145A, purchase of services agreement amendment number 1 with Stonebrook Engineering for the signalization at Lexington Avenue and 122nd Avenue in the city of Blaine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner. So again, we don't always do roundabouts. This is a signal project. At this intersection, actually to the west, Lakes Parkway, which comes out of that Lakes development there, will eventually tie into 122nd Avenue at some point in the near future here. So in preparation of that, and also to address all the traffic that's coming out of the development along the east side of Lexington Avenue, we're proposing the installation of a new signal at that intersection. Our team has gone through a couple iterations of design here because it's a pretty confined right-of-way as it sits today. There are some existing landowners and properties there that are still in their, they haven't been developed yet. And so being cautious of that and aware of that, our design is taking that into account, but also looking towards the future. And so another hinge point here at this intersection is coming from the north, you have 3 lanes going south. As you travel through this intersection, it necks down to 2 lanes. So we had to take that into account as well, because eventually in the future, this corridor will be similar to Round Lake Boulevard, north of Highway 10, and be 3 lanes in each direction. So with that, this has been more of an intricate design, to say the least, but definitely a necessary project, and this is something we're looking at constructing next year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Jepson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a very complex project, and I really appreciate you working with the city of Blaine and understanding the future of where that quadrant of the city is looking towards. And it's always better to be proactive than reactive, especially when it comes to public safety. So I just wanted to give a word of thanks to you and your staff for doing that.
Thank you. I'll pass that along.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Item number 7.
The committee recommends approval to authorize the county engineer to advertise for bids for CP 24-01-00, the 2024 countywide overlay program at various locations throughout Anoka County.
Yeah, Mr. Board, or Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This action item typically stops at the Transportation Committee meeting because asking for approval to advertise for bids is just one step in the process. When the board approves our overall highway improvement program, as long as we're within budget, we just request authorization from the Transportation Committee. In this case, the reason it's coming before you today is because after seeing the condition of our roadways, which we always monitor over the course of the last year, there are a couple corridors that we wanted to add to this program. They're at a point where they really can't make it 1 or 2 more years, so we're expanding the program. It has no impact to the county levy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize some additional transportation tax funds, which are also known as our local option sales tax, which are specifically dedicated to transportation system improvements, to the tune of about $5 million. It's a big number. There is money sitting in that fund as of today, and the reason for the funds being in that bucket of money right now is since 2018, there was one major change. Prior to that, the CTIB group, also known as the Central Transit Investment Board, existed. County, thank you. County Transit Investment Board existed. So that was from approximately 2008 up to 2018. And all the money that was collected from that local option sales tax went into one giant pot. And then agencies were able to submit project applications to try and utilize those funds and have them allocated their project. Had to be transit related or grade separation style projects, which Anoka County benefited from. Then when that disbanded, the group disbanded in 2018, those funds stayed within Anoka County. So we utilized those funds to pay for transportation improvement projects, as well as fund our operational requirements and obligations on the North Star track. And those were to the tune of around $6 million per year. Over the course of the last couple of years, that number's gone down a little bit. And as of this last legislative session, Met Council now picks up the full tab on the operational costs of that program. So that's opened up some additional revenues that can now be used on other transportation improvements. So asking for this additional $5 million, the money is there. We need it on these roadways. And so that's the reason for this action item coming before you today, just for transparency, and plus I need your approval to move forward on this.
Very good. Commissioner Look,
Mr. Chair, I'll move it with discussion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Look and seconded by Commissioner Brasted. Commissioner Look.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. The County Transit Improvement Board, it's interesting you used the word central. It was somewhat of a sucking sound going right into Minneapolis for their light rail projects. Dee was there, she'll remember that. But at any rate, we were able to fight for some of the dollars necessary for the interchanges that kind of eventually became Highway 10, thankfully. I think in the end, we kind of somewhat broke even on what we put in. I know other counties did not break even, and they were major net contributors. But nevertheless, just speaking to the fact that the North Star line is, the full cost is being picked up by the Met Council at this point, or Metro Transit. I would remind everyone that the 3/4 cent sales tax increase that was passed in the last legislative session extracts $51 million out of Anoka County residents' pockets. And those are the dollars with which the North Star is being funded. So North Star is still being funded by Anoka County. And it's a different pot of money that they're drawing from at this point. So much, much more than it ever was before. And that sucking sound that I referred to earlier is getting louder and louder, because instead of $6 million coming out of Anoka County, now it's $51 million coming out of Anoka County. So just by way of history, it's good for folks to understand what this legislative session last year did for us. So thank you.
Let's see, do we need we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, this is not a roll call vote. Everyone say aye if you approve.
Aye.
If you're against, say nay. It's unanimous. We all approve this move. Moving on to informational items, Commissioner Jepson, or do you want to go right to the committee chair report?
Yeah, there was one informational item that we discussed at our committee meeting that we're going to recommend at the actual board meeting right now. So I will recommend approval. I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 2024-TR03, a resolution authorizing the county to enter into agreement C0010480, a cooperative construction agreement with MnDOT for a project intersection improvement at 85th Avenue Northeast and Trunk Highway 65 in the cities of Blaine and Spring Lake Park.
We have, resolution has been offered. Discussion. Joe?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, just a little context on this. The reason it was changed to an informational item on the Transportation Committee report and then changed into an action item on this chair report is because after we talked about it at the Transportation Committee meeting, MnDOT, working with the cities of Spring Lake Park and Blaine, decided to add Spring Lake Park into this agreement. Originally, it was just a three-party agreement. Now it's a four-party agreement because the signal actually is going to be paid for by 4 different entities. So that's the reason for the change.
Thank you, Joe. Any other discussion? Commissioner Jepson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we all know that a lot of construction is coming up and going to be happening in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. With a new signal being placed at this intersection, I understand that the current signal is definitely at the end of its life. And so I understand that a new one is needing to be installed. But depending on when construction happens along that section 1, which includes this intersection, will that light, it'll be fairly new at that point, hopefully. So are those kinds of, if that light is removed, can it be repurposed elsewhere, or is that not often does that not often happen?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. So yes, if they were to remove that signal and it's only a few years old, they'll likely just salvage all those materials, whether it's the cabinet or the steel, the mast arms and signal pole, and they'll just hold them in their inventory and they can use them as replacement parts, just like Anoka County does. If you come visit our shop, we've got a line of them that we use from time to time. So good question here.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, it's roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And with that, I conclude my report. However, I was remiss in not mentioning that there was no public comment at the January 10 meeting to report. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jepson. We'll move on to item D, which is the Finance and Capital Improvements Committee report. Commissioner Reinert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My committee met on January 16th, 2024, and all members were present, and there was no public comment. We've got a couple action items before you today, and the first one is my committee recommends the county board approve contract number C0010580 with CM Construction Company, and this is for Public Health and Environmental Services Department Operations Center build-out. Basically, we're taking the DOC from the West Courthouse and moving it to the Government Center, and this will create a lot more efficiency.
Very good. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meiser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Schulte.
I guess for full transparency, we should mention that it's, the contract amount is $135,800. It is used with COVID dollars coming from the federal government. There is small additional dollars that are coming out, which will total $400,234 if the contingency is used. And again, this is all federal dollars coming back. They are taxpayers' dollars, but they are COVID federal dollars through grant funds that are being used.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulte. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Item number 2.
Item number 2, my committee recommends the county board approve contract number C0010581 with RAC Construction. And this is for Blaine Human Services, Women, Infants, and Children. clinic in the amount not to exceed $230,195. And I think, as was suggested before, there are additional dollars on this one too being spent. Let me get that for you. Oh, gonna have to do this.
475,940.
Yeah, so the additional dollars are 172,745. A lot of this is for mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Some of these things actually, some internal employees that we have do. And then there is a $75,000 contingency with this as well.
I'll move it.
It's been moved by Commissioner Brasted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Any other further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. This is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Abstain.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously with one abstention. Item number 3.
Okay, last but not least, my committee recommends the county board approve the annual designation of depositories to U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, J.P. Morgan Chase, BMO Harris Bank, and also this concludes to delegate the authority to make electronic funds transfers to the chief financial officer and their designees within the Finance and Central Services Division.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Brasted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
And that completes my report, Mr. Chair. Back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reiner. We move on to Human Services Committee. Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Human Services Committee, we met on January 16th here in this building. There was no public comments in the room. Again, I do accept public comments via email. Anyone may email me at mandy.meisner@anokacounty.mn.gov. First on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is payments made for medical assistance. I will go ahead and move that.
The first item has been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the consent items. Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye. Item number 2.
Item number 2 under the regular agenda, this is under social services. This is for an action item under the Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program. Approval for the county, community social service, and behavioral health department to issue a request for proposal, or RFP, for subgrantees to provide services for additional family homeless prevention and assistance program. Funds available for 2024 September through September 30th, 2025. And this is in response to the Minnesota Housing Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program. Anticipated RFP to be released in early of 2024. So just a little bit of history. In June of 1993, the legislature did pass this Homeless Prevention and Assistance Act, allocating funding to meet the goals of preventing homelessness and to reduce the duration of homelessness. So for the 2023 to 2025 biennium, Anoka County was awarded $2,500,000 to fund subgrantees, primarily the Salvation Army, Emma B. Howe, YMCA, and Hope for Youth. So on December 8th of this year, the Minnesota Housing announced that an additional $27,209,427 of FHPAP funds will be awarded in 2024. So essentially, this committee is asking the board to issue a request for RFP in response to this. So, thank you.
27 million.
I'm sorry. Did I say 1,000? I'm sorry, 27 million. Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Jepson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Schulte seconded it. Any discussion? Hearing none, this appears, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is still under Social Services for Minnesota Prevention and Recovery Alliance, a peer recovery support services. So this committee is asking the board approval for amendment to contract C0010155 with Minnesota Prevention and Recovery Alliance for peer recovery support services. This is located in Minneapolis. This particular service is supporting women and families who are pregnant and using substances. The current contract runs through June 30th, 2024, with a contract maximum of $64,493. I do want to state that these are quote-unquote non-professional services. This is peer-to-peer, so people who've experienced substance abuse issues can really partner with others and really establish relationships and trust in that way. So the funding sources of this is all grant related, and we are recommending for the extension and expansion of this peer recovery support services from July 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024, with also a new contract maximum of $164,493. And I will go ahead and move that.
It's been moved by Commissioner Meiser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been seconded by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Item number 4.
Item number 4, this falls under economic assistance for the 2024 through 2025 Child Support Cooperative Agreement. The committee is asking for approval of the 2024 to 2025 Child Support Cooperative Agreement and Cooperative Arrangement. This would be contract C0010505. This is between the Department of Human Services, Anoka County Economic Assistant Department, and the Anoka County Attorney and Sheriff offices for the time period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st of 2025. So this cooperative is required by federal law, and it must be in place for counties every quarter. The funding for this is federal. This does not affect our levy, and there are some changes here. So this committee is recommending the approval of this with some slight increases and different sums. So in 2024, there will be a 5% increase for Anoka County's Attorney's Office for the amount of $2,095,224.85, a 3% increase for the Anoka County Sheriff of $30,551.86. Now in 2025, there is a bit more of an increase for the Attorney's Office, a 7% increase totaling $2,241,911.99. And then also a stable 3% increase for the Anoka County's Sheriff Office of $31,468.31. Now, there was really a robust discussion in the committee about the differences, so we talked that out. Essentially, this is for market rate adjustments, and this is an up to amount as well. So we're not necessarily going to be spending it. This just allows economic assistance to be reimbursed for services needed. So I will go ahead and move this.
It's been moved by Commissioner Meiser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brassad. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Item number 5.
Item number 5, moving on to the Job Training Center. This committee is requesting permission to apply for and accept the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, also known as DEED, grant funds for contract number C00-10490 for the Drive for 5 grant in the amount of $691,488. This contract is for 2024 and 2025 and will end June 30th of 2025. So just a little bit of background. This is through the Adult Center Pathways Program, and they are seeking proposals to provide services through this Drive for 5 initiative. This is a highly competitive grant, and this will be used to conduct outreach, provide education and training, paid work experience, and also job placement in these designated areas. So technology, labor, the caring professions, manufacturing, and educational and professional services. Now, this grant was due December 18th, 2023. This is state funded, so there is a little bit of a, not a caveat, but this was actually already approved by the Workforce Development Board. So essentially, they've already applied for it, so they're really just seeking permission if they so get this competitive grant that we would accept it. So I will go ahead and move this as well.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Meiser, seconded by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion or questions? Hearing or seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Item number 6.
Yeah, the next couple items are very nice ones. So these are in recognition of the gifts that we've received from the community. The first one is Resolution 2024-HS-1, accepting gifts for Human Services Program. This one is specifically for 2 nonprofits recognizing Safe Haven, Foster Shop, and Foster One Ministries. These 2 agencies donated items for children involved in child protective services and placed in foster care through Children and Family Services. So this was a variety of items, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of the entire committee. We really appreciate this.
And do I have an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer.
Offered by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously. Item number 7.
Item number 7, in the same vein, Resolution 2024-HS2, accepting gifts for human services programs. So this one is to recognize the nonprofit Bundles of Love, and they donate a variety of items for newborns and infants. In the committee, I think that it was agreed upon, it was like 30 years that Bundles of Love have given to Anoka County. So thank you so much. And again, this resolution is just accepting all of the gifts that they have given us.
Do I have an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Offered by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously. Item number 8.
Item number 8, Resolution 2024-HS-3, also accepting gifts for human services programs. This one is through the agencies of Care Portal, as well as, so Care Portal. So this is a little bit of a unique one. This is a network of member churches, 11 in all, and then they all collaborate to produce different needs that children and all ages and their families who are receiving services from Children and Family Services here in the county. There is a long list of churches. I will just note that there are 11 in total metro churches, and only 3 are not part of Anoka County. So this is primarily faith groups in our own county. Again, thank you so much.
Do I have an offer of the resolution?
Offer the resolution.
Offered by Commissioner Jepson. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. And Commissioner, does that?
I'm sorry, that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Meisner. And we'll move now to item F, which is the Information Technology Committee report. The IT committee met on January 16th here at the Government Center. We had no public comments. We had one action item. The Information Technology Committee recommends the county board approve a purchase from Heartland Business Systems of Osseo, Minnesota for a replacement firewall hardware, professional services, and a 5-year software subscription in the amount of $1,035,000, with a change order of $200,000 for a total not to exceed $1,235,000. This is obviously for a very important part of the hardware, that's the firewall, and then also a contract with professional services. As some may have noticed, we have what seems to be a rather large change order, which is hopefully not going to have to be used. But just because of the way things are going with supply chain issues, that type of thing, we want to be prepared just in case, so that we'll have that there in case something does occur. So that's why we had that added to it. And I will move this. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Reinert. Discussion, Commissioner Reinert.
Yeah, and I do want to add, that was of concern, the $200,000 and the size of it for the contingent, or the change order, I should say. But this contract does float over a 5-year period. And so, with the cost of, everything going up and inflation, and it's thought that instead of that amount, it might be more, about $100,000 is the thought, if any. But, it's better safe than sorry. And so we supported it, although it is a bit large. We'll watch it, I guess, over the 5 years.
Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. That was the only item we had. So that concludes my report, and I will turn it over. We'll go to item G for the Parks Committee report, and Commissioner Reinert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My committee met on Tuesday, January 9th, and all committee members were present. Also present was Chris Carney, Assistant County Attorney, and Matt Koshin from Rice Creek Watershed District. We were pretty happy to have Matt there because we have been working for a couple of years with Centerville Lake to get an alum treatment funded, and so Matt was there to give us an update on that. We applied for, well, the cost of it's going to be about $1.1 million. We applied for a grant. Surprisingly, the first time around, we got the grant of about $990. Is that right, Jeff?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. Is about $954,000.
$954. And so there's a bit of a delta there. It was a 90% funding, so there's some matching, and those matching dollars will come from the cities of Lino Lake, Centerville, and Anoka County. And so treatment for Centerville Lake will begin this spring, and alum works pretty well. So people are going to see results immediately, and real happy to be able to get that done. Alum treatment like that, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's said to be able to last as much as 25 years. So last treatment on the lake was 1998, so we're due. So real happy about that. We do have a couple of board action items here. First one actually has several donations, and I think we should take these resolutions separately to give, I guess, proper attention to those that are helping us out financially. So we'll go with, first of all, Resolution 2024, PRK01, and that's miscellaneous donations in the amount of $364.30.
Do I have an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Offered by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Resolution, or item number 2.
Yeah, the second resolution here for donation is resolution number 2024 PRK02, and that's from Connexus Energy and Natural and Cultural History and Programs in the amount of $25,000. They continue to support us.
Do I have an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer it.
Offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously.
Okay, the next resolution here for donation is 2024 PRK03, and that's from the Roberts family for the Rydell farmhouse improvements in the amount of $4,629. This is really amazing because the Roberts family every year comes forward with dollars to, help support maintenance and of the Rydell farmhouse. And for those of you that haven't gone down to the Rydell farmhouse, it's a really neat property. So happy to get the help from the Roberts family.
I'd like to offer the resolution.
It's been offered by Commissioner Meisner. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously.
And the last resolution under donations is 2024 PRK 04, and this is from Cedar Creek Memorial Project donations in the amount of $21,225.22.
Do I have an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Been offered by Commissioner Brasted. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it's adopted unanimously.
Okay, the next item is kind of just a housekeeping item. My committee recommends that the county board authorize an amendment to grant agreement SG 24P20102, Anoka County contract C0010193. And this is correcting an over allocation of funds of $27,000. And basically, we're correcting it to $771,512.51. This is a grant issued by the Met Council, and basically what happened, they inverted two numbers, creating a mistake and an overpayment of $27,000. So this action here will correct that mistake, like I said, just a housekeeping item.
I need a motion.
Moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Jepson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Discussion. Oh, Commissioner Jepson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, even though this is a reduction of $27,000, I did confirm with staff that that reduction will not impact the project. So the project will still be funded appropriately, even though there is that somewhat large reduction.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brasted.
Aye.
And that completes our action items. We do have other items that are routine and informational. Jeff, is there any of those that you want to touch on?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I don't believe so.
Okay, well, that completes my report then. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Reiner. Item number 8 is committee appointments. Consider reappointing Eva Knudsen and Ronald Bolton to the Minnesota Extension Committee for 3-year terms expiring January 2027. Do we need a vote on that, or just?
Yeah.
We do, okay. And that does not need to be a roll call vote, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Brasted, second by Commissioner Meisner. Any discussion?
Ms.
Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, just a really quick comment. I've worked with both these folks for a couple years now, so I'm just pleased that they are applying and hopefully will be part of the Minnesota Extension Committee for another 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meisner. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it passes unanimously, and that concludes our meeting for today. Make sure we don't.